Welcome back to the CardinalSports.com recruiting chat. As always, I'm your host, David Lackford. You guys had 20 questions, and I answered them for you. The first question is from Cardinal Cash. He asks, Gavin Wimsatt likely a no-go? Looks like Chase Harrison is the guy we've pushed for as of now. What are your thoughts on both? Also asks, other linebacker targets after Collie? Let's start with the Collie question. No, not right now. I don't think there's like a clear guy. Once Collie is going to announce tomorrow for Notre Dame, I think that they'll probably revisit the board and see what positions they really need. They've got a lot of versatile players right now who can play either safety or linebacker, guard, outside, inside. So I think they're going to reevaluate and kind of go from there. There's only 2 more spots left, okay? And I'll address someone else down here in the thread, asked the question about, what's the deal with these numbers? How come it went from this number to that number? Well, I'll get to that later. As far as Gavin Wimsatt being likely a no-go, I would say that I don't know where that's coming from. Just because somebody who writes for Kentucky put a pick in for an in-state 2022 kid in August of this year isn't cause to just throw everything out and say, let's go look for another quarterback. From what I've been told, Wimsatt is the top target on the quarterback board at Louisville, one of the top targets. He's definitely one of the 5 in-state kids that they're trying to get, and I'll talk about that later. But no, he's not a no-go. Okay, it's a double negative. He's a target. They're still going for him. Okay, they want him very much so. The problem with Wimsatt is he could very easily become a national recruit. You could see him blowing up with playoff team offers from the likes of Ohio State, Alabama, freaking LSU, Clemson, whatever. So that's the real problem right now. I've spoken with some people on the Ohio State side of things. He is definitely on their board. They've only offered 3 quarterbacks so far, but Wimsatt is definitely a kid who they will pursue if Ohio State misses out on those 3 targets. Or if they go out and evaluate him in person and say, you know what, well, this dude's right in there with them, you could see them offer as well. So I think that the bigger concern here is whether or not Wimsatt becomes a national recruit and decides to head out of state, right? So the other guy you're talking about, his name is Chase Harrison. He is a 2022 4-star pro-style quarterback out of Centerville, Ohio. I know the staff has offered him. As a matter of fact, Louisville's the only Power 5 offer for this kid. He's 6'2", 185. That's what he's listed as. He's a guy to keep an eye on going forward. They list him as a pro style, but he's not a statue. He can move around. And I think that, had there been camps this season, I think Harrison would be a guy who would have more offers. So I'll share the screen with you guys real quick. And let you take a look at his film. Let me go real quick, get the next question. Okay, I'll talk about William Parker while his film plays. So what I was told about William Parker, okay, William Parker Griffin, I think his name is now. He has a top 6 of Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, Louisville, and Tennessee. Now, Louisville has been recruiting him for a long time. He has a good relationship with the staff. I do not think that Louisville is out of it. I think they're still in it, but I do think the main threat was Alabama. All right, but they were anticipating a Darius Mims committing, and they were only taking 1 more player at that spot, right? So it seems to me like, and Mims was supposed to commit on August 15th, but he moved his date back to August 14th. Now, these dates change around, and kids do all kinds of stuff, and they get persuaded by the coaches to announce earlier. Perhaps he was a silent commit. I don't know. Perhaps he was going to commit somewhere, and another school came in and said, look, I'm really wanting you to come here, and threw things a loop and he's just going to push it back and wait. All right. But I think that how that affects William Parker Griffin is he could probably end up staying home and going to Tennessee. Or if one of Georgia or Alabama miss on Mims, he could end up going to Georgia. So, or Alabama, whichever one gets him and doesn't, wherever the open spot is, that's where I think Parker could end up going. But Louisville's definitely still an option as well. So could be a while on that one. Parker doesn't really talk to a lot of people like that. Parker Griffin, sorry. So this is a long-winded way of me saying I haven't heard his name come up in Louisville circles yet, but he's still a target. And until I find out anything concrete, I would not write him off the board. All right, so that's what that is. Let's go back here. I hope you enjoyed that film of whatever his name is, his sophomore year. And who's Harrison, Chase Harrison from Centerville, Ohio. Next question. How heavily involved will Louisville get with Rashard Rochelle? Kid seems like a perfect fit at QB in the 22 class, and he only lives 5 hours from campus. Well, they did a recent interview with him, Edgy Tim. He's a guy who covers Illinois the way I used to cover Kentucky. And he said Rochelle told Edgy Tim that lately he's been in contact with Purdue, Florida State, Baylor, and Illinois. Louisville did not come up in that conversation, nor does he have a Louisville offer. I did not watch his film because he doesn't have an offer, and he didn't mention Louisville while I was doing my research. He's also a new name to me, so shout out to you for knowing about that kid. Maybe there's something written about him elsewhere that I haven't seen, but I haven't heard his name. And I'm still trying to figure out what they're going to do at quarterback in the 21 class at this point because they could take Viato. So we'll see about that. Nash Vegas Card, he asks, so if we have 2 scholarships remaining, then we will have a total of 24 players. We used to have 26. What happened to the other 2, and who do you think will fill the last 2? Like I said, they went back to the drawing board on that last 2. I think William Parker Griffin has a spot if he wants to jump on board. And Viato, Nick, I forget how to say his name. Somebody wrote it down here. Nope, they wrote Nick V. Viato, I think is his name. Forgive me for butchering this, but I think he's a kid that Frank Ponce really likes, but the staff has been kind of hesitant on offering him because you already kind of got him in Evan Conley. But I think if the numbers come out the way they come out in the spots open for him, I think that they'll jump on him. But that's really a question that I've asked some people that I have contact with down there in South Floyd, and it's kind of like, hey man, we're back to the drawing board. Malachi Bennett was the guy that you remember that was being recruited out of Mississippi to play receiver. He's actually about to pick UAB. Everybody thought he was going to Ole Miss. Such is not the case for some reason. I don't know what happened there, but it's kind of like back to the drawing board for these kids. For everything that's going on. I would honestly say that the position that probably will be taken for sure is another tackle or a guard. But honestly, it's going to be the best 2 players available that want to jump on first. If that doesn't occur, then they'll go ahead and they'll take a lineman and somebody else. And why is it down to 24 players? That's because Cloud, the linebacker, he jumped on board and he's playing this year. And then they got that cornerback from Liberty. His name escapes me right now, but he's also counted on the scholarship list. So we have 85 scholarships every year, and these 2 players have taken one. We say, well, what about the other class? Well, it doesn't matter. Your class numbers of scholarships depend upon what your 85 scholarship cap numbers looking like. So if you're 2 away from, getting to 85 or projected to get, if you're projected to be 2 away from the 85 with the numbers you're signing in a 21 class, but then 220 kids jump on unexpectedly, that number of the 21 class is going to decrease by the number of kids who jump in the 20 class, in this case by 2. That's why you go from 26 to 24. Ty Cards Niner, he asks, what in-state 2022 guys do you think Louisville has a realistic shot with? He asks about Ceylon Brown. Yes, I think they have a very realistic shot at him. Actually, I think they lead for him, and I expect him to be in the class. Dane Key, I don't expect Dane to be a Louisville receiver. Dane has a style of play that's probably best suited for Kentucky, to be honest. And Gavin Wimsatt, I think they have a chance. I already spoke on him. Travion Longmire. Longmire is a kid who originally was being recruited to play running back at a lot of schools in the beginning. Since then, he's getting a lot of offers at DB and also receiver. Louisville is recruiting Longmire as a receiver or a defensive back. So he's an athlete, but he's not a running back. He's listed as all-purpose back on the database, but such is not the case when it comes to how Louisville is recruiting him. When he drops his top 5, I expect Louisville to make the cut there. Keontae Goodwin, Louisville's definitely in his top 3 right now. I think it's going to be a Louisville-Kentucky battle. If Ohio State jumps in, they could be a contender. They have not offered yet, and it's still early. He's got a lot of good offers out there. He's got Florida. He's got, I think, Alabama. So who knows what will happen. But I think the idea is to keep him close to home, even if he becomes a national recruit. But there's such a long way to go. You never know how that's going to shake up. But I do think that Kentucky and Louisville are the 2 main schools that factor in with Goodwin, and I think Louisville has a slight lead. Ty Cards Niner also asks, also out of the in-state 22 guys, which should Louisville be making a priority in your opinion? I would say Goodwin because of all those I listed. I think he's got the potential to be a first-round draft pick. I think he's a Malachi Bennett type player. So that's what that is. Also, Goodwin looks great. He's dropped about 100 pounds. So if you go back and watch his sophomore film, you're like, oh, he can't get off the ball. Yeah, he was moving an extra 100 pounds. But I actually saw Keontae 2 days ago. I think he's down to like 300 pounds. He looks lean. He looks good. So watch out for him to have a big year this year, as long as we have a year this year. Gavin Wimsatt would be my second choice there. I think that, he's a quarterback. He's right up there with Goodwin as far as who Louisville should be prioritizing. Ceylon Brown, he fits a really good role as the nose tackle in this defense. He's not the biggest guy in the world, but he's quick. He fits that prototype that they're looking for on the defensive line. And I think Wimsatt will fall in line after them as the versatile type of player that they like with some speed and some length, who could be an outside receiver or a safety. So I think they should be prioritizing all of those guys for sure. TDG Miller, he asks, of the current commits, which 3 players do you think have the highest ceiling? Oh, man. Whew, boy, that's a loaded one. I'll get back to that. Do you think Cloyd starts off practice at the mic? Yep. And is he either the mic or the will? Whatever Etheridge has locked down, and Cloyd will start off opposite him. I heard he was on campus. There was an announcement on the Twitter, but I haven't actually asked about him. I guess I should have, but I must have skipped this question when I was doing my prep. Anyway, and then he says a comment about how that'd be a lot of speed that we've rarely, if ever, had. If he could bulk up in his first year and keep it, something like that. I guess you'd want your guys to bulk up, but I don't know that he's too small not to play right now. So it is what it is. Of the current commits, which 3 players do you think have the highest ceiling? TJ Lewis, for one, and I documented that in his commitment article that I wrote. I think he has a ton of upside. He's extremely raw as a passer, and I think he could do big things. I think R.J. Sorensen, the defensive end out of Florida, is a guy who, you could see move inside or stay outside, the 3 tech, the 5 tech, and I think he could do a lot of damage. I think he's raw, but he's big and he can move. So I think that's a guy that people kind of are forgetting about a little bit. And then I'd say we're talking about ceiling here too, okay? So we're not talking about guys who have a high floor and are going to kind of come in. You expect them to produce right away. I'm talking about guys that, aren't really projected to get drafted and then, could jump up into the top 3 rounds type of players. I guess the other guy with the highest ceiling would be, let me look at these. Let me show you guys how to, hold on, I'll show you in a minute, but I want to look back over their class because that's a hard question to answer when they have so many kids and they've been spaced out here over a while. So let's take a look. Man, I forgot about Jalen Alderman from Valdosta. I guess I'd go with Huggins Bruce because Huggins Bruce kind of leveled off after a impressive sophomore year. His junior season kind of leveled off, and I think that he's still got some untapped potential there. And the kid's fast and shifty, and he's going to be in an offense where he should be able to get off and put up some big numbers, some explosive numbers. And I think that when he gets the tutelage of Coach Brewer, who's been in the NFL, who's been around, who's been able to coach up some of the best receivers in recent memory, I think that's a guy, man, that you want to watch. All right. So for sure, those are my 3: Sorensen, Lewis, and Huggins Bruce. All right. Lake Boy 25 asks, does the staff put the full course press on Jeffrey Bassa, who's out in Salt Lake City, now that Kali is seeming to go elsewhere? I don't think the staff is really on him like that right now because I don't think they believe they're a realistic option. So I don't want to say the ship has sailed, but it's a long shot. All right. Lake Boy also asks, also, is UL still recruiting either DB Daquan Gonzalez? No. I think that ship kind of sailed as far as I know they said they'll take best athlete available for, a lot of the things. But when it comes to the defensive backs, you got to be, the best of the best to jump in because they're full there. They just can't have a whole class filled with defensive backs. Or O-lineman Enrique Cruz. I don't know. I like Enrique. I talked to Enrique. Wanted to do a feature article on him, but in our conversation, it didn't sound like Louisville was really on him like that. And so I don't know if that's changed. I haven't spoken with him. I haven't gotten any word on it. So I think William Parker Griffin is probably the main priority at O-line, and the kid from from Brooklyn, New York, that his name escapes me. I think he's also a kid that's being prioritized. Sabres with a 3 instead of an E asks, what 2022 prospects are on our board? What position is the biggest need inside the 22 class? I mean, all the positions have been filled that are of need. I think linebacker had been addressed, and I think defensive backs have been addressed. So those were the biggest needs, and they've been filled. They also have 2 tight ends, so they're good at tight ends for a minute. They might not even take one in the next class. So I think their needs were linebacker, defensive ends, or D tackles in their system, whatever you want to call it, and corners and safeties. They've all been filled. So, but I want to show you guys a feature. I don't know if you guys know how to do this or not. I want to share my screen with you. And what I want to do is show you how to, when you ask me the question, what 2022 prospects are on our board? I mean, I could do a whole chat just based on that one question right there. But I'm going to show you how to research this for yourself. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to recruiting. Why is this doing this? You're going to go to recruiting. You're going to hover over that, right? And then you're going to go down here to where it says scholarship offers football. Click that, all right? Now, this is one of the good things about our database here. You'll see class of 2022, and you can pull up any school in the country that you want to look at. But class of 21, let's look at the class of 22. All right, there you go. Now you see how many people have been offered by Louisville. All right, you see Travion Longmire. Oh, they changed it to athlete finally. Good. So these are the players, and you can see if they've committed elsewhere. You can see their height, weight, their stars, and their ranking right here. You can see where they're from. So, I mean, I can't really answer that right now. That's just too much of a question to answer right now. You see here, they've only offered 4 quarterbacks. So they're shooting high right now for those. You see Wimsat's a 5.9. 4-star, so he's definitely in the Rivals 250. That's what Rivals 100 territory almost. So yeah. So this is what you want to do. This is how you want to do it, and that's how you roll whenever you have that question. Hey, who are they targeting in the 22 class? Just use that part of the database, man, and you can look at all the players they offer. TDG Miller with another question. Do you know the timeline of Nick V, Florida quarterback decision? Viato, I believe his name. Vadiato, I think it is. Nick Vadiato. Man, like I said, they're gonna Ponce wants him bad, Ponce says that's my guy, that's my dude. But I think they're looking for a little bit something different that they don't really have right now. But I can see if Louisville finally does offer, I think that you can see him commit. But I don't know that that's going to happen. Other things have to fall in order for that to rise. For Louisville, is he a wait till signing day and swoop in with an offer type of kid potentially, or could you see us offering? I can see both, as I just explained. All right, Eastern Kentucky Chow, EKY Chow asks, assuming Rivals analysts can get out and evaluate, who of our current commits do you see getting a bump? Well, I'm glad you asked that because, a lot of these kids that committed to Louisville, they really were kind of under the radar, and they didn't get seen a lot. So, you get your eyes on the film for a second go around, and, you can see which ones are going to get a bump. I think there's a good possibility that Louisville ends up with 4 4-stars, 4 new 4-stars. I think Connie Walker is going to get a bump to a 4-star. I think Travion Cooley, the running back, I think he gets a bump to a 4-star. I think Ashton Jalodi or however you say your name, I think he's a 2-star right now, something like that. Let me take a look at this real quick. Either way, though, he's probably going to get a bump. These bumps might have happened already, too. I got to check this out real quick. Nah, none of these bumps have happened yet. But Ashton Jalodi, he is a 2-star, and I'm told he's going to get a bump, so he'll probably be a 3-star. And then, of course, everybody's favorite commit, Benjamin Perry, he'll be a 4-star. So I think you'll see 4 4-stars in the new rankings, and you see a nice little bump there. The thing is, though, you got to understand that doesn't mean the team ranking is going to shoot up through the roof, because other teams who have 3-stars that are getting bumps too. So I think they hold fort at 14, but definitely a really good recruiting class. DJ 5817 asks, can you speak to the ties that Wimsat is perceived to have with Kentucky? Yeah, sure. I mean, Kentucky recruits the in-state kids aggressively, and they've been on Wimsat for a while. And I don't know who they might have been his first offer, to be honest. So I mean, the ties to Kentucky for a Kentucky kid, it's always going to start off with Vince Morrow, and then it's gonna trickle down to the position coach. So Western Kentucky was his first offer back in February, followed by Eastern Kentucky a few days later. Then Vanderbilt came and offered on May 9th. What? Wait. My bad. I'm lying. That's not what it is. Murray State was his first offer. All right. And then he visited Kentucky back on January 25th. You see a picture of him on Twitter with his parents there, and then he's a picture. He's in Mark Stoops' office with Vince Morrow, and that was in January. and then Kentucky offered him in May, right? And then Louisville followed up on May 12th, 3 days after Kentucky offered. So, and West Virginia, Missouri, Cincinnati, TCU, Virginia Tech, Kansas, Nebraska, Maryland is his last offer. That's from July 28th. So, you know, they're Kentucky. He's a Kentucky kid. That's the ties. Now, as I said earlier, though, a Kentucky writer put in a pick for a Kentucky kid. So, I mean, it happens all the time. Shonda, 97. Dave, when will Corona be over? Please tell. I am not privy to that knowledge. And if there was an end date and I was privy to that knowledge, I'm sure that would be highly classified. And I would lose my security clearance if I was to speak on that. So I have no idea. Cardinal Cash, who, if any, of the 4D linemen will move to the interior? Man, I don't know, man. You guys ask the craziest questions, man. How do I know that? All are listed at DNs, and it appears we have no shortage of DNs based on the 2-3 deep this season. I mean, I can guess and say, all right, well, Raheem Craig is a DN who's about 220 pounds, and so is Ashton Jalodi. So I don't see those guys moving inside. RJ Sorensen, he can move inside because he's already 6'4", 245. However, Louisville likes shorter, undersized, rounder guys who are quick and explosive and can get through cracks in D-line. So I don't know that he fits that mold. Victwan Brown, he's 6'3", 225 right now. I don't know how big these kids are because it killed us not having an off season. I'm sure these heights and weights, especially the weights, are all off wrong. But I don't know, man. It depends. Once they get to camp and they can see how these kids move and how they fit, that's when you'll find out who's going to move inside. But I haven't been able to evaluate anybody because we all been stuck in the house with the coronavirus, man. So it's hard to tell. And the rest of Cardinal Cash's question is, last season we took Tell, Dawson, and Bryant, and that appears to be it for D tackle. Yes. So I mean, those outside DNs might be just outside DNs. I mean, they took 3 D tackles last year, and they run a 3-4 offense. You know, so I mean, they're good there for now. I mean, you could throw one of those DNs in there. You got a couple guys coming back, so I don't know. Somebody will probably move inside. I mean, they got 4 DNs for your 2 deep. You got your 2 deep right there in one class, and then you got 3 deep on the D tackle right there, because you got noses, you know. And one of those guys will move out to a 3-5 tech, whatever the defense decides to do, shift and whatever personnel groups they use. But it's tricky. The way that they run their defense is tricky because of how they recruited and what they like to do. Mayo Man, please name 5 City of Louisville, Jefferson County players that the Cards are after for the 2022 or beyond classes. Well, I named the 22 guys earlier. So that's that. Now, as far as 2023 goes, there's a kid named William Spencer who is from Mayo. He's a 23. He's a D lineman or a guard. He's a D tackle or a guard. He's about 6'3", 260 right now. Looks good. I like the kid, and I think that he's going to be a Power 5 level guy. I think Louisville would do well to jump on him earlier than anybody else, maybe throw out that first offer. There's another kid named Micah Carter who can play defensive back or receiver. He goes to St. X, and his coach, Kevin Wallace, sings his praises. The only hang-up is, is Micah going to focus solely on football or basketball? And, if he decides to split the baby, what kind of effect will that have? Not that Kev doesn't want him to play both sports. He does. It's, Kev isn't one of those, hey, only play football type of guys. He encourages everybody to play sports. It's just what he's getting at is it's hard to condition for football if you're playing basketball unless you're already a big dude who kind of needs that cardio to kind of slim down. But Micah's not necessarily like a huge kid. He's like a slot receiver. You know, he's like 5'10", 5'11", good size slot. He could play outside. He could play corner. But it's, you know, you're training your body for two different things. So if he was to strictly focus on football, he might be able to bulk up. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see. But I like Micah Carter. I think he's a heck of a player, and he could be a Power 5 dude that Louisville could get on. And those are the two guys that I know that are in Jefferson County. And I can show you guys another trick here. I want to show you guys another trick with the database, okay? So one of the things you could do with the database is just go to recruiting, go to recruit search and database. So I'm here at just, you know, the main page. So I'll take you all the way back to Genesis because I'm one of those people that likes to see everything from the start. So just type in rivals.com, you know, right in your search bar here. And then you go to football recruiting, go to recruit search. Now, this is how you pull up all the top kids in the state that might have a Power 5 offer. And I'm going to show you what to do. See where it says show filters, click that, go to year, go to 2023, go to college filters. Down here at the bottom, you'll see offer status and visit type. Click in offer, go to high school filters, go to your state, punch in Kentucky. You see that drop down, and then just hit search. Now you see there's two kids in Kentucky in the 23 class that have offers, Dakota Patterson and Tommy Zeismer. Zeismer's a big 6'3", 230-pound kid who's listed as tight end, but he could do other things. He's got Kentucky, Louisville, Tennessee, West Virginia, and WKU. All right, so those are for Tommy, who's back arrowing now, going back. And you see my guys are gone, but that's okay because it saved my search parameters. I just hit search again. There we go. Dakota Patterson. He's a big kid out of Corbin, 6'3", 200. He's got Kentucky and West Virginia right now. So those are the two kids. Now, you can also just find any kids in our database whatsoever by simply doing this. When you put in 2023, go to college offers, get rid of that. And then just keep the high school state at Kentucky in the high school filters, click search, and then you'll get a list of all these guys. You'll see there's a kid named Trayvon Alexander who's 6'2", 295. There's, you know, so that's one way to look at, gee, who are the dudes out here? You know, you go by the measurables. You got Braden Myers, 6'1", 225-pound DN. You got freaking Chase Crone, a quarterback out of Independence, Kentucky. You got Jamarion Harkless. Oh, that reminds me. Jadarian Smith is also a 2021 kid from Louisville. He plays for Ballard, who has an offer from Louisville. His nickname is Duty. He used to play for the Flagey Rams with my son Jace. So I know Duty well, and congrats to him. And he's a guy that's being targeted by Louisville. And so if you want to look and see who has offers in the 22 class, go to basic info, year 22, college filters, click on offer right here, go over to high school filters. You got Kentucky already. I just changed the year to 22, inserted offers, and then boom, I can see everybody. Grant Bingham, 4-star out of Paintsville, Kentucky, plays for Johnson Central, beast, good player. You got Caden Veltkamp, who's the quarterback at Bowling Green. He could be a target for Louisville at quarterback in the 22 class as well. Michael Hawkins, I think he goes to wherever Bo Allen went, Lexington Christian. You see Jawan Northington, he's a running back athlete from DuPont Manual. Caleb Perry, he's a quarterback out of Georgetown. You got Ty Bryant, he plays for Frederick Douglass. This is Jamarion Smith, who's a slot guy. He's fast. He's probably like 4'4" kid. I saw him out at the Obitz camp in the it was like an Under Armour underclassmen report camp. He's fast. There's Duty, Jadarian Smith right there. And you see 6'4", 225. That's an old picture. You see he's got Kent State, Louisville, and Toledo. So that's the trick for y'all, man. So, you know, you can look stuff up, and when I jack up, you can fact check me, you know, say, hey, Dave, look, you were wrong on this because I looked on the database and this kid has an offer or doesn't have an offer or whatever. Jay Grimes, 1320, who joined in April. Welcome. He asked, any shot for Louisville to land Dane Key? don't think so, man. I don't want to just count Louisville out like that, but it's just like I know they like him and I know they want him, but I just have a hard time seeing Louisville land any of those kids from Frederick Douglass when Kentucky is a legitimate option for them. Are we going to recruit the quarterback from South Warren for the 2022 class? They should. I would anticipate them at least going out to South Warren to watch a game. He's a good player. The problem with these kids from Bowling Green is they mostly all go out of state if they have the chance. You know, the Vito Tisdale is the last one I could think of who went to Kentucky, who stayed in state. I mean, Justice Dingle left. He went to Georgia Tech. Jordan Dingle's probably going out of state as well, unless Kentucky can keep him in, which I'm hearing is Vanderbilt right now, but there's some issues with the coaching staff there. And then you got Jacob Lacey, who went to Notre Dame. I'm just trying to wrap my head around all the kids out there and in the Bowling Green area, man. There's a lot of them, but I don't remember many of them staying home in state. And a lot of them ain't really from in state, and they're closer to Tennessee than they are to, UK, I think. And that's besides the point. I just don't think that they're going to get the kid from South Warren. They might recruit him, though, but he doesn't have an offer right now. So Tron the Legacy, he asks, do you view TJ Lewis as a bigger, faster Mikal Cunningham? No, Mikal had some issues to work on coming out of high school, but he was a quarterback. He was a quarterback. TJ's kind of like a converted quarterback. He's like an athlete. He's like the best player on the field playing there. I also don't think TJ is extremely fast, like 40 time. He looks about 4.7 to me. Mikal is probably like 4.5. Mikal is fast, right? He's a little bit shiftier. But TJ has a different type of running style. He's got a downhill running style, and he picks up steam, and he's looking for contact. But he can escape in the pocket. He's got good escapability. He's got a nice spin move, and he's twitchy for a big guy. But no, I don't think that I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say a bigger, faster Mikal Cunningham, because that implies better. I've always been a fan of Cunningham. I was one of the people who was a big proponent for him being a 4-star in that class, which he was. Cunningham was a 4-star coming out of high school. A lot of people forget about that. So Cunningham is no chump, man. Y'all got to stop disrespecting my man like that. Y'all be talking like this dude is a throwaway dude. Like, y'all wanted Jawan Pass to start over him last year. So many of y'all jumped on Mark Ennis's article and when me and Mark talked about it, we both agreed that Cunningham was going to be the starter, right? But Mark was like, well, one of us got to write the other side. And I was like, you write the other side. Mikal's my guy. And, you know what I mean? Come on, man. Sometimes you got to listen to us, man. Sometimes we know what we're talking about, okay? But, yeah, let's be easy on Cunningham, because he could very well be your starter for this season and next season, So let's give the man some love. Give him his flowers while he's here, And what are my thoughts on the potential of Lewis? I went over that. I said, this kid has the opportunity here at Louisville in this system to become a Heisman-level type kid as long as he realizes his potential, keeps his nose to the grind. I think that the system fits him so well. He's a long glider. He's, like I said, I see a little Lamar in him. I don't know that he necessarily has Lamar is a freak, all right? So he's a freak of the freaks. So, Lewis has the potential to follow in that footsteps, and be that type of contributor to where, you can see this kid throwing for 3,000 yards and rushing for 1,000 in this offense. That's not a stretch, okay? Is he Lamar as far as Lamar's athleticism and the way he processes information on the field and his arm? We'll see what his arm is like. But his processing looks good to me, and the dude can run and he can move around in the pocket and make people miss. So we'll see. I think that there's a lot of potential there to answer your question. Tailored 11, Tailored 11. I don't know. Is it Tailored or Tailored? I don't know. You let me know. Every recruiting class seems to have a focus or theme. what positions or side of the ball do you think our staff will focus on for the 2022 class? Man, that's a good question. I mean, I feel like they leveled things out. You know, under Petrino, it was like, all right, we'll just take 9 receivers and 5 defensive backs, and then we'll just do whatever with them, and we'll get a couple linemen and a quarterback and a linebacker and a DN here and there. But I think since Satterfield and his staff has taken over, they've kind of evened things out a lot to where you're starting to see good roster balance across all the positions, across the 2 deep. So I think what you're going to see is, a position here, position there that, guys they recruited didn't pan out. They need to fill holes or busts. And that happens to every class. People hit the transfer portal. That's not a knock on them. It's the nature of the beast. So I think it's a balanced kind of attack at this point, and we'll have to see what attrition does to the 2 deep and go from there. So it's a little too early to tell for that question, but a good question nonetheless. From a national perspective, what do top-tier recruits and high school coaches think about Louisville and our staff? I know that coaches absolutely love Satterfield and Ledford and Jadarian Brown and Brian Brown and Court, all these guys, Mark Ivy. I mean, Stu, everybody, man. But the top-tier recruits, they're always going to go to the top programs that are winning because they want to get a shot at the playoffs. They want to get a shot at that exposure. So if Louisville can mess around and win 10 games this year, I think they insert themselves into that conversation. And I think that they start to be recognized as, look, this is a team that's always on TV. This is a team that was in the ACC championship game, and they've been on a steady increase, So if they can keep winning, I think you can see Louisville named as a top-tier school, and then top-tier recruits will see them as that. And then you say, well, I'm a top-tier recruit. I go to a top-tier school, There's only one 5-star that went to a G5 school that I can remember, and that was Ed Oliver, So, I mean, the big dogs get the big dogs, The top 5 lists are always something like Oklahoma, LSU, Alabama, Clemson, and Ohio State. That's what they tend to look like, So that's the answer to that. Who's the most under the radar kid on our commitment list? Jalodi, Ashton Jalodi. And I spoke on him. I said he's going to get a bump. I mean, he's a 2-star. That's crazy. And I felt like, he was better than that when I watch him. Have I heard anything on position-wise where the staff turns, still a linebacker, even Wakali, Notre Dame? But I think if we're going straight position-wise, they want another linebacker, they want another lineman, all right? But like I said, if some 4-star tight end wants to jump on board out of nowhere, they're going to take that dude. They're going to take if a kid that they can't pass up comes along, regardless of position, they're going to take him. Who was our top running back target in the 2022 class? Oh, man, I don't know that that's even emerged yet right now, man, to be honest with you. I guess I'm going to have to go in here and look. Let's take a look and see what running backs they've offered real quick, all right? Scholarship offers. Remember this. Remember to do this. Class of 22. And it always starts off a quarterback, then goes to running back. So pro, dual, running back. Damari Austin from College Park, Georgia. I spoke to Damari. He said he really likes Louisville. They're probably in his top 5. But I'm hearing Florida made a big push. But Damari is definitely a top target. There's Jordan Bryant James. There's Jamie Felix. And where is Jabron Payne? Jabron Payne might be a guy that they really like. He's from Cincinnati. I got to talk to him. I'll hit him up. Let's bookmark this one, and I'm going to try to get up with him and see what he thinks about Louisville. Well, he got a top 10 25 days ago. Let's see what his top 10 was. Louisville is in his top 10. How about that? All right. That's from last month. So I think Louisville is probably going to go close to home before venturing further away. But I know they talked to Damari Austin a lot. Okay. And that's my guy. Shout out to Damari if you're watching this. And Jabron Payne is also a dude that they're probably putting the gas on for. I haven't really been talking much about the 22 class right now because it's the last thing anybody wants to talk about, to be honest with you, because they're trying to get ready for the season. They're trying to figure out there's going to be a season. They're trying to make all kinds of accommodations for that potential season. And they're also dealing with players trying to opt out. They're trying to get practice organized, and they're trying to fill out the 21 class. So, you know, you don't want to be a bug and ask about things that are down the road and aren't high on the priority board. All right. So that's what that is. So, I mean, that's pretty much it. I think for the chat, I don't see any more questions here. And I went out of the thread to find that information out. So that's about it. Let me see. Yep. That was the last question from Cards Rule World. So thanks everybody for tuning in to this. And I'll probably have another one up in about 2 weeks. But, you know, things have been kind of sparse because, like I said, 21 class almost finished, you know, 2 more spots. And it's like they're getting ready for the season. And the 21 class is a year or so away. So when I get more info, I'll pass it along. And this is kind of like the dead time, because this would have been the dead period in recruiting anyway, had we not had a global pandemic on our hands. So this is kind of like the dead time for recruiting. This is when recruiting analysts take a break and they go on vacation. And, you know, last month we had a string of commitments. I hipped everybody to when it was going to pop beforehand. I got the articles out. Chad or the national guys would get quotes from the kids. And, you know, we've been doing what we do, but it's just slow, you know. That's the way recruiting works. It goes in cycles, you know. But hopefully they find a way to accommodate these official visits. And, you know, I understand not having a group of 50 kids come in, but if your commits want to have official visits, you can schedule that out to where their parents come, that group stays with that group, you put them in their own lodging, test them, take their temperatures, give them a test, whatever, and then have them come around the campus. And then you would take the social distancing practices you need to take. And it can be done safely, it can be done efficiently, and you can get these kids in and out. And they can go on their way and they have their official visits. You can also do that with the uncommitted kids. So I don't see why we can go to a bar or a restaurant, sit outside, right, and order our food with no mask on to a waiter or a waitress who has to sit there with their mask on and communicate with all these people all day long. And that's something fine to do, but you can't have a kid in his family, you know, maybe his mom and dad or a sister, a group of 4, can't come to the campus and go around and see things. I mean, I understand it's not ideal, and I understand a lot of kids like to come on the official visits without mom and dad because they're going to be coming to school without mom and dad, right? But it just doesn't make any sense to me that we have all these other things open, things that are going on, yet you can't bring a family to the campus. They can sign a waiver saying that they understand the risk and they're assuming the risk of contracting the coronavirus by coming to the school. So I would like to see things jump back off in September, where kids can start making official visits, you know, maybe 2 families out of a week, you know. I know that's not ideal, but these aren't ideal times. And this is the world we live in right now. So accommodations have to be made, adapt and overcome. All right. But that's it for now. Hopefully we get some more news in the next couple of days, so I can keep the board info flowing. I understand that the traffic's been kind of not where everybody would want it to be, but I mean, I can make up some news if you want. All right. But thanks for watching this, and we'll be back again. I'll be back again in like 2 weeks with another one of these. All right. Thanks, everybody. Go Cards.